Okay, hello. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to code um, an orbiting hologram, basically. I've done this video a lot, and so I'm probably going to have like two E2 chips here that are kind of along the same lines. Um, but anyways, thank you guys for watching this. I know I haven't posted a video in a while, but you know, I just kind of wanted to post one, to see if anybody really cares. Just, trying to be helpful. And if anybody wants to, ask questions or whatever, PM me, comment me. Very PM friendly, so whatever, doesn't matter. All right, so expression 2, take it from wire, open a new expression. That's the one I did. I'm gonna close it. We can name it whatever you want. Let's call it Orbit. Orbital. That's actually pretty cool. Orbital. I like that. Um, First things we're going to start out, we're going to organize our E2 chip. I like to do this just for the sake of organization. So we're going to say if first, which means as soon as this chip is created, or, or if duped. This block, this if block that we just created, will only trigger on the first execution of this chip or when it's duped. Now let's tab down or enter down a little bit here and create another if block saying if last. So this will only be executed on the last part of this code, as like when this chip is deleted or whatever, about to be deleted. First thing we're going to add here is runOnTick. This causes this chip to run on every single server tick. So everything that happens here will be occurring every single server tick in the middle of these two blocks that we've created for organization. And we'll also do runOnLast. We don't necessarily need this one, nor do we need this block, but it's, once again, it's just for organization. And this will also be helpful here. We're going to make a persistent variable. We're going to group it. We don't have to use these square brackets if we don't need to, or if we don't want to, but I'm going to use them just for the sake, once again, organization. We'll make that an entity. We're going to say that this thing, E, is equal to entity, which means E is now equal to itself. It is itself. E is the chip. So that's how we're going to refer to it. We're also going to make a value up here called orb. Orb. Yeah, we won't need trigger, we won't need outputs, we won't need inputs. So, after all that's set up, we will now create the hologram. So holoCreate, well, we have to give it an index value, so like a label, you have to something to call it by. We're going to call it by 0. Or you can call it by 1, or 2, or blah, 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 whatever you want to call it. But, 0 or -1, whatever you want. This is usually the beginning number. So we also want a model for the holo. For this example, our 0, our index 0, is going to be a high quality sphere. I'm not sure if HQ is high quality. I assume it is. So hqsphere. That'll be our model. Next we want a default position. So holoPos of 0, the index 0, is going to be a vector. Actually, no. It's going to be the chips, so the entity, the chips position. What this will do is cause the sphere to spawn directly on the chip. So for a default position, let's actually go plus vector 0, 0, and let's boost that up to 20. The x direction, the y direction, and the z direction. So the z direction is up and the x is, right, and the y is forward, basically like that. Or x is forward, y is to the right, depending on which way you're looking. So I'll show you what this does here now. So you can save it, save and exit. And so it spawns a holosphere, just floating there, but 20, I'm not sure what it's measured in, but we'll say 20 above the chip. So now we have a default position. we're going to make it so that every single tick, it calculates its own position. So we're going to make a function called orbit. Oops, sorry. We have to say void, and then function called orbit. You can name the function whatever you want, but it has to, well, yeah, I guess it has to be void, has to be function, whatever. You don't necessarily have to create this function. Once again, it's only for, for keeping the code clean and proper. If you don't use this function, you have to put what I'm going to write in here where I post this, which is in between the two lines of code. I would very much recommend using a function though. It's neater. It's a lot more organized. Alright, so also another thing that we need to do is we need to initialize orb. Orb is going to be equal to 1. Now every single time this function is run, which means on every single tick of the server, because we have it right here, we want orb to increase by 1. So orb is equal to orb plus 1 every single time that code is run. That's perfect. That's what we need. So the main function of this code is the repositioning of the holo index 0. So let's change that real quick. So index 0, we want it to actually orbit. So if we wanted this to orbit, we now have a changing variable every single tick, which makes this a lot easier. So the thing to actually make it orbit would be a vector. The x direction of the vector would be sine, so sin, and then orb. The y would be cosine, orb, because it needs to be the same number. And then we'll boost it up to 20. Now, this works. This would cause it to go in a very tiny circle. Because, as you've seen, we boosted this up by 20, and that wasn't very high off the ground. When you use sine and cosine, the numbers only go in between 0 and 1. So it's very, very tiny. You might see the motion, it'd probably just be like a vibration. So what we're going to do is we're going to times this motion by 50. So we can put times 50 here, times 50 there, and orbit. Yeah, alright, so let's see what this does. Actually, wait, let's not see what that does. Sorry, we have to add entity pose here. Yeah, because we want it to be local to the entity position. So entity position plus the vector that we just did. So as you can see, that's orbiting around your E2 chip. If you want to do something more interesting, actually I guess I can leave that up. If you want to do something more interesting, instead of having the entity position, you can actually do the owner. So let's grab the owner's position. So the owner, that means you, position. So let's change it to that. And now we have this orb rotating around us. It's kind of a bit low, so let's increase the height to 50. So that's pretty cool. I like that. And now a pretty neat thing about this, I'm actually going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to put an H here. And now what this allows me to do, I'll show you here, when we create the holo, it allows us to treat it as an entity. So if we say H is equal to holoEntity, 0, sorry. Now we have a new hologram. So let's create another holo. Actually, you know what? Let's just copy this real quick. And then let's change the scale of it. Sorry, we have to change all these to 1s depending on what number you put for this holoCreate. It's still going to be a sphere, still going to be in a default position, and we're going to change the scale units of 1, and we need a vector for this. So the scale units it will change the size of the hologram by units. I believe 50 is half. I think. I could be wrong about that. Let's just test that out real quick. We should see it floating Oh, nope, that's actually a lot bigger. Oh, okay. Let's not use 50. Let's use 5, maybe? It could be 5. Yeah, 5 is good. I like that. It's tinier. So now, we're also going to change the position of that. We're going to say holo position of 1. Now, this time, this is where the H comes in. We don't want the position of the owner. We don't want the position of the chip. We want the position of an entity that we've created, which is the holoEntity, H. So get that position, and we'll grab this plus vector, add it onto there. Now this code will work, but it will be a little bit slower, a little bit not as, fast. So we're going to change this. So instead of orbiting 50 around it, let's have it orbiting 30. Now if we do this, oh, it's orbiting like really high up there. Strange. Why is it orbiting up so? Oh, sorry, because we left that 50 on there. Oh, that's really strange. It's staying steady distance. Okay, so we actually need to modify that then. So instead of going 50, what if we put it to 10? Let's see if that will do a big difference or not. No, it's on the other side of it, but it's not changing. That is really strange. I forget how I created it to go faster last time. Hold on, let me grab up my old one, because I actually started making one here. I was actually messing with this. It's actually really neat. This was just my test one that I was doing. holoCreate, holoSphere. Where's the orbit function? Oh, right. That's why, because I used a different orbit function. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry. That was my fault. Okay. So up here you want to create Orb2. Orb2 will start at 1 as well. And down here, you want to go Orb2, or sorry, Orb2 is equal to Orb2 plus, now this is going to be your speed variable. Let's change that to 20. Leave this at 50 because I forgot. This number right here changes how close it is to the other sphere. Sorry, that was my bad. So we'll then change this to Orb2, Orb2. Then we'll lay this down. Holy crap. Okay, that's way too fast. That's that increasing by, let's say, 5 each time. And let's bring this closer together. I think 20 actually looked a little bit nicer. Yeah, there we go. Now we have a thing orbiting us with another thing orbiting that thing. It's pretty cool out positioning in Holos. And if you want to, you can, change the different shapes. You could change, different colors, models, whatever you want. Position, doesn't matter. Speed, distance. You can add a whole bunch of things onto this code. You can even make these into variables if you want, these numbers. Instead of having to write these numbers over again, you can change those into variables. I guess I'll show you how to do that, actually. It's like this. Oops. Jeez, what happened there? Alright. So this could be like distance. And this will be like distance 2. And then up here you would put distance and distance 2. And then down here, same thing. And this is where you could initialize it. Let's actually switch this up so you can see the change. Now this will be opposite. The big one will be closer and the small one will be further away. So as you can see, so that it does the exact same thing, it's just now differently affected. You can also change the speed. That's perfectly fine. You can change the height. You can actually change these variables. You can give them height variables instead of the numbers. Like you can put height here. Same for distance. And I'll actually put that as well in here, just for the sake of doing it. Because why not? Oops, my mouse got slow. Height and height 2. So 50 and 20. This should cause the little one to actually be a little bit higher than the big one, which it is. I should probably change the things because it's way too close to see what's going on. But yeah, so I'm going to post this code in the description. And once again, if you guys have any questions, concerns, or whatever, you know, ask in the comments, PM me, add me on Skype if you want. Same name as my YouTube channel. Steam, doesn't matter. Message me if you need help. If you want to work on something, message me. 100% fine. I'm completely open. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.